Welcome everyone. My name is Sher Khan and I am joined by a very special co-host and my brother Agent Zman, everyone's favorite agent.
Hello there.
Here we are making it happen, and we have combined both of our creative energies and our minds to create Double O Titan. We got the Double O, everyone's favorite agent, Agent Z-Man, and we got Bronze Titan Sher Khan in the building. Double O Titan, this is our pilot, and let's kick it off.
Yeah, so today we'll be talking about She-Hulk. Recently the first episode has come out, and obviously we're going to be trying to do a cover for each episode, so that will be on Thursdays. Most likely we'll try to do it on then, or the next day, but we'll see how it goes. This is the pilot, so we gotta start off
experiment. So here we are, and firstly, what did you think of the episode?
I thought it was really good. It's a good start. Like everyone was kind of like worrying about the VFX and how She-Hulk will look compared to all the other characters or shows we've seen. But I think this is really good, and I'm kind of getting the vibes of how Ms. Marvel was really good, and I think that's my favorite so far. Yeah. Like the stinker for me is Falcon and Winter Soldier.
No, but I really liked it. No,
I just think the enemy enemies weak, and just the story kind of fell flat, but the characters were great.
Okay, that's true.
Falcon and Winter Soldier were great as characters, so it was good to see their kind of progression, but some things didn't work, but we can talk about that on a later bonus episode. Say. But so She-Hulk's the new show for Disney Plus. So obviously new character, but with similar aesthetics to Hulk, of course, because namesake. But so
I mean, I was kind of worried initially, I'm not gonna lie, because you mentioned
VFX.
The VFX, yeah. Every single trailer we saw, it seemed like it was getting worse. So I was very skeptical seeing She-Hulk looking you could tell they got it right with Hulk, but She-Hulk would be there and it would just look like she's got an outline and she's just not there at all, and you could almost see the space behind her. It was that bad. But I have to say, watching the first episode, because we've watched it twice now together, pleasantly surprised by how good everything looks. She finally looks like Hulk, which I don't know why it was so hard to get that to work, but I'm not on their team.
I mean, I kind of think it's not the point that she looks like Hulk, it's more so that she's, she looks like She-Hulk, which is supposed to be this the proper masculine, or not masculine, but muscular character.
Yeah.
But still gorgeous and kind of retaining all the kind of features and that stuff that makes She-Hulk from the comics. How each cover of her is it's supposed to be oh, look at this attractive person, but then it's also
boom,
don't be paying attention to that because she can knock you out. And obviously we'll be talking about each kind of points that go through the show or this episode, so but this show is kind of giving me the good vibes of how it's good and well meant for representation for women, and kind of going through because we'll talk about it later, but not all the time we in the main media we get the whole kind of seeing how it's the perspective of a woman in a workplace with all the men kind of just making comments and all that stuff.
Of course,
obviously we'll get through that when it's the point, but so obviously the episode begins with what looks like the main character making a self-tape kind of talk kind of thing, but
rehearsing the speech.
Yeah, she's actually researching, not researching, practicing the speech. But you have her supportive friend Nikki, who's just you're doing great. But then you have the her colleague, who's another lawyer. So
Douchebag.
yeah, pretty much. And obviously, in the comics, he's a bit of a douchebag already. So we know he's gonna be a douchebag anyway.
Course,
but
yeah.
it does kind of like cement that he's being like smile and you being like.
Do you think we'll see him like continuously pop around in the show, or was it just this once?
Maybe to discourage She-Hulk, or
Okay,
maybe, but after the whole speech, she's like ready to take on a case. It's against, I think, from what the trailers we've seen, it might be the corporation that deal with metahumans, or superheroes, because in the MCU it's not really been
established.
Yeah, I mean, they said enhanced, so maybe they could say that, but obviously, who knows? But as soon as Nikki leaves the house, or, I mean, not the house, her office, like Jen, she talks to the audience, and it's like our first introduction
Breaks
to
the fourth wall.
Yeah, exactly, the fourth wall, and we know in the comics She-Hulk does that a lot. So
yeah,
we kind of get the vibe that okay, so this has like this part of the story is when she's already She-Hulk.
Yeah.
So then obviously we get the whole flashback to how she became She-Hulk.
Yes.
So we see her in
Interesting.
the car. Yeah, it's it's different, but so she's with her cousin Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
Where was she throughout the whole MCU? But I guess
on hiatus.
Yeah, most likely
practicing her law degree or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we do have a lawyer technically in the MCU now. Daredevil. So
yes.
we definitely will see him, but to what extent, who knows? But
yeah,
they're just chatting and talking about Captain America being a virgin.
Yeah,
I mean, we'll get like a kind of like conclusion to that at the end. But it's kind of funny, just thinking, oh wait, he was kind of busy throughout the whole saga of him being frozen, him coming back. He just kept on going through, but obviously, it's kind of revealed at the end. But
yeah, I mean, it is interesting you bring it up though, because I found that I was because obviously the show is coming at it in the terms of She-Hulk being a very like she's not a controversial character. I don't want to say that, but she's not afraid to speak her mind, and she challenges a lot of beliefs, which is good and what we need. And she does that in the comics as well. So I was skeptical of the humor being a bit too political, but I'm glad that the humor is balanced enough. I just feel that sometimes it doesn't land, but we're still in the first episode. We're very early going, so we'll see what happens. But I'm glad that the tone is not politically charged or anything like that, because that would just be like, MCU have made their bread on humor and making heroes feel relatable. The last thing we want to do is start involving politics, and it has its place, especially in lore as well. But like, I was glad to see that it wasn't like shoehorned down our throats kind of thing. It was very much natural to the character, so that was good. But yeah.
So obviously they're talking about that, and then all of a sudden we see a ship appear out of nowhere.
Yes.
And obviously we find out it's from Sakaar, and I recognized it from like the ship itself from Thor Ragnarok, and it was one of the ones that was in the Grand Master's palace, where he had all the ships and that stuff.
Yeah.
But obviously it's a different color, but still the same shape. So obviously, who knows what's gonna happen? But obviously that ship crashes the car that both Bruce and Jen are in.
Yeah.
And then obviously, Jen's got a cut. She's bleeding. She's saving Bruce, which we kind of get the kind of reveal of why Bruce is in his human form rather than in the Hulk form. You'd think, he'd
yes.
heal from the snap, but technically Hulk did the snap, so he's injured. So I guess we get the explanation that he's wearing an inhibitor that
Yeah.
makes him go back to human form.
Yeah, because Bruce is
Which,
fine,
yeah,
but it's
which,
Hulk that's injured. Yeah.
yeah, and obviously, when they go in the car crash, the inhibitor's broken,
Yeah.
and so obviously, Jen's trying to get Bruce out of the car, and then all of a sudden the blood mixes. Not like blood brothers, slicing a hand, and then infecting. So hopefully there's no like medical problems with that. But apparently, we'll later know that it's a perfect match. But
Yeah, but
but
on that, like, um, they were saying that their blood synthesized each other, so that Hulk was fine. Um, so that was interesting.
I mean, like, so that's how obviously she becomes She-Hulk because the blood, goes in together,
Does its thing.
and it's obviously gamma radiation,
Yeah.
and she hulks out, but we don't get to see her face. We see kind of like a Frankenstein's monster. It's
Oh,
just
in
like
the mirror. Yeah.
oh, she's afraid of the reflection. She runs out, and then we switch back to her waking up, normal Jen. But um, in the comics, it's slightly different. Jen is like there's like an attempt on her life, and Bruce willingly, goes, "Oh, I will just give you some of my blood," which, if obviously MCU Bruce and any Bruce Banner would never want to give his blood to anyone because obviously, it's gamma radiation, it's Hulk.
And that's the thing that they kind of touched on later, where Hulk bears this, like, the hero's life of being a recluse and taking on these sacrifices so that no one else has to. So, yeah, like you said, MCU Banner would never, ever, ever want to give his blood willingly.
In general, like any Bruce Banner, but I think in that situation, in the comics, it was more so just do it out of emergency. But I prefer this kind of origin way. It's just like accidental, and it's not really like it was meant to happen. So at least it's not like, oh, I just gave you my blood and that's it.
It gets it out of the way as well. It doesn't really matter why or how. It's the fact that she's like this now and she has to deal with it, and it works with the charm of the series of like, I'm She-Hulk now. Like, what do I do? So it works.
Yeah, and then obviously, with her waking up, she's just like, she doesn't know where she is. She goes to the bar, goes to the toilet, and all these women are just helping her, support her, just like, giving her her phone, sorting her like makeup up, and it was really nice because to any other audience or just anyone in general, they wouldn't know that that's kind of like a norm for females, kind of like just getting that everyone's together kind of thing, and it feels like there's a whole support unit rather than everyone's like out for each other, kind of like in each other's throats. So it was good to kind of see like togetherness, in even if they didn't even know she was like She-Hulk or like a monster or anything like kind of thing, because obviously we don't know what this transformation's done to her because we don't really actually see her face the whole like first point. But then obviously she calls Bruce, she's waiting outside, and these men heckle her, obviously it's just like and she keeps her cool, and she's about to like Hulk out, and then I think Bruce spears her as the Hulk, so then obviously it doesn't happen. So then we get Jen is with Bruce, and they're in Mexico, which is kind of like a callback maybe to the Eric Bana Hulk films, when at the end he goes to Mexico, or it's Brazil, and he's just kind of like secluded there. But this one's more like, oh, this is proper like seclusion and
beach base kind of thing.
Yeah, and it's kind of relates back to like what Tony said in, I think, Avengers 2, where he's talking to Bruce, when they're creating Ultron, that let's kind of have a peaceful, don't you just want to drink cocktails and live on a beach and that stuff? So
they end up doing that.
So obviously we find out that during the blip time, which I feel like we're kind of getting some like some kind of story with like what's happened between, like obviously we've seen stories that happened after the blip, and this one was kind of cool that we saw what was happening during the blip. I think Black Widow did give us a bit of, or maybe it was Hawkeye when we got Yelena's kind of thing, that after she blipped back, because obviously she was blipped,
Yeah.
that everything changed, but we haven't seen anything that's happened during the blip, like, because who knows, who, like, a lot of heroes were inactive, so maybe we got more heroes, and I think the show will kind of
Yeah,
explore.
yeah.
There might have been an increase of superheroes to cover for those who'd gone, or like for people who'd gone, who blipped.
That's interesting as well, but like you said, because the way I've always thought of it is, oh no, they already have integrated the blip stuff, but it's never been during the blip. It's always been a second, like,
It's been like post blip, because
yeah,
like,
post blip, or like a consequence of the blip, or this happened after the
mm,
blip, or this kind of thing. Think of like what is it, Spider Man, not Homecoming,
no hum.
no Home, yeah, where everyone comes back and suddenly you see what happens. That's the only closest bit of like,
This is what
just
happened.
where
Like,
the
yeah,
blip is happening. But then again, they're coming after the blip,
yeah,
like,
because it's
so
like
yeah,
the first kind of thing after no, it was Far From Home. Yeah, it was Far From Home.
yeah,
That we see that some students stayed, and they
age,
aged
yeah,
to that point of where they're in pieces class now, even though they
mm,
were like 10 years or 5 years younger. But so that was the first one. Then it was One Division with um Monica Rambeau, how she blipped and then she came back, and
yeah,
her mother obviously passed, even though they were in the hospital, because obviously happened like that. But
mm,
it was cool to see that this is what Hulk and Tony were doing, because obviously Tony, after he came back from the ship, by Captain Marvel
oh yeah,
saving him when he was in space, he had resentment to Captain America.
yeah,
So obviously we were like, oh, what did he do apart from have Morgan and be married and that stuff?
yeah,
So it was cool that in his spare time he was helping Hulk kind of like become Smart Hulk.
piece himself together basically,
Yeah, and
yeah,
I think that was cool. And you can see on the bar there was like BB and TS for
engravings, yeah,
so obviously, and like you can see in this like house, I think during when they show the like the beach house, it has like the Avengers theme, but it's very like low, and it feels like, oh, this is the after effects, and this is
oh, I
the
didn't notice
last.
that,
Yeah, and it's like, because obviously Hulk and Thor are the only OG Avengers left, and obviously we know from Thor
yeah.
Ragnarok he's still Thor. Spoilers, but but
And we'll talk about Ragnarok, not Ragnarok,
Thor Love and Thunder.
Love and Thunder. Yeah, we'll talk about Love and Thunder in a bit because we wanted to.
We'll talk about that in
Yeah,
another episode,
we
because I
wanted to
think,
do an episode, but we'll dedicate a proper.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
But it kind of feels like this is kind of like a memoriam for like the Avengers, because we see um the Iron Legion helmet that Ultron possessed,
mm,
of the helmet. So it's like, oh, he still holds that kind of like dear, or kind of like maybe
yeah,
it's a
yeah.
remembrance of what happened where he tried to play,
Yeah,
kind
it's
of
a
like,
reminder.
yeah, because obviously it was him and Tony who decided to create Ultron. Oh, there's more so Tony, but you know what I mean. It's still kind of like the after effects of this is what happened when if you try to do this, and then we also see the Gladiator Hulk helmet.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, it's there. So
Oh,
it's good to see that he's keeping that, because obviously that was when Hulk. So probably that was the Hulk persona keeping that there, because it's sentimental for
yeah,
him,
yeah.
because Hulk was active for those 2 years,
Mm.
as the gladiator, and you can see kind of like some of the merchandise from Sakaar, like the Hulk like mascot kind of thing, like just like
Yeah,
products of Hulk, because obviously he was the big hero, and we saw that in Thor
that's the thing
Ragnarok.
though, because of Sakaar and the ship being, because of the ship re-entering Sakaar into the discussion. Do you think they're going to be setting up Hulk going back there? Because we still haven't got a Banner solo film, even though they've counted Ed
Yeah, Hulk
Norton.
solo film. Yeah.
Yeah, so sorry, Ruffalo solo film.
Yeah.
Because even though they counted Ed Norton as canon, which I think is kind of lazy, um, like, do you? I mean, you guys can let us know as well. Do you think that this is the way they're gonna kind of? This is the way they're gonna set up Ruffalo finally having a singles film by going back to Sakaar and having the kind of Planet Hulk storyline, which we kind of thought was going to happen in Ragnarok when we thought that they were going to Sakaar, but it's not really what we wanted.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
yeah, I
like,
mean that's kind of interesting.
yeah, because I mean, like, Thor Ragnarok was kind of like, a split film between a Planet Hulk film because we got Gladiator Hulk and
Yeah.
Scar, and then the Thor storyline with his sister Hela. But regardless, I think what you're saying about maybe them doing a solo film, I think it's not for the lack of trying. It's just because like the Hulk rights are with Universal.
Right. Okay. Okay.
So
Okay.
it's kind of hard for them to do a solo film unless they do some
They made it happen with Tom Holland and Sony. Come on, man, make it
yeah, but
happen.
that's like because they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna like I
I
think
don't
Tom
care. Make it happen.
yeah I mean like Tom
Ruffalo needs a
Holland
film.
yeah I would enjoy a Planet Hulk or just a Mark Ruffalo solo film because
Yeah.
it's Hulk is the strongest Avenger in my opinion
Strongest
and
Avenger.
no
I'm the strongest
no
Avenger.
no no um Thor isn't and
No,
Hulk
I am
is
the strongest Avenger.
okay but yeah, I think it's high time to see Hulk just be by himself.
Yeah.
Maybe if they wanted to, they could have Better Ray Bill
Yeah.
in the film because we know he's a gladiator in the Sakaar planet because his like portrait is there among the statues like by Beast and obviously Hulk.
Yeah.
So I kind of really wanted to see.
I mean, fair enough, because I don't know much about Better Ray Bill. I just don't like his look.
You just don't like he's got a horse face, but
exactly.
but the thing is, he's such a cool character, and like for
Fair
those for the audience, if you've seen Planet Hulk the movie, the animated movie back in the day when Marvel were doing really good animated films,
Yeah.
you know, Better Ray Bill was there for a bit, and he was just like he's really cool.
Mm.
But I kind of was hoping that he could appear in a Thor film, but I think that's pointless now, just because.
Well, with
Yeah,
the
I
direction
mean,
they're going with it being uber comedy, we'll
yeah,
touch on it
well,
in the spotlight, but
yeah.
like they could definitely do a dude with a horse face as a Thor.
You mean Better Bill?
That's what I mean. Like
Okay.
it's not out of the realm of
Yeah,
the
we'll
comedy
talk
Thor.
about that like when we get to
Yeah.
Thor Love and Thunder. But
Thor Ragnar Thunder.
yeah. Anyway, like so obviously we get kind of like the explanation to why the blood worked and all that. Like we're a match between Jen and
Yeah.
Bruce, and it was like fine, and we see Bruce or Smart Hulk. He didn't give himself the title.
Smug Hulk.
Yeah, he's so smug, but he destroys the samples, which is a very clever nod to obviously the canon Incredible Hulk film where Bruce's blood is accidentally spilt on like a soda drink in Brazil, and then that goes to Stan Lee in his cameo, and he drinks it, and obviously we find out that he probably hulked out.
Yeah.
But so it's clever that he's destroying the evidence of his blood, and obviously we know, anyone infected with his blood can become a Hulk. We've seen obviously She-Hulk,
Yep.
but also the leader from Incredible Hulk. Who knows? He might appear.
Yeah.
Because we kind of like at that film, it was kind of left. Oh, he's gonna come, but obviously that film never got a sequel. We never got like anything towards that. So maybe She-Hulk is the way they may introduce it, but
maybe. What happened after that in the episode?
So then obviously Hulk is going like, oh, this is the multi-year plan or kind of like journey.
Oh yeah.
In order to control the Hulk, because
this is funny, yeah.
It's the first thing, and he's got like a whole encyclopedia kind of like pamphlet guide or tour guide on how to become Hulk or how to deal with it.
But She-Hulk doesn't need it. She's acing every single, challenge, trial, whatever you want to call it.
And like the first thing that changes everything is that the fact that when Jen, Jennifer Walters, becomes She Hulk, she doesn't have a persona, which
Mm.
obviously for comic fans we know why Hulk has a persona. Um, who knows if the MCU will get into that, but
Well, for those who don't know, go for
yeah.
it.
Long story short, Hulk's dad was very abusive, and like I think, one panel has I think his name is David, but he smacks Bruce, and it's like a 2 meter
Oh.
slap. Like
Oh,
it's
right.
like distance,
Across
like
panels.
pow.
Right.
Obviously this bad, but obviously, due to this kind of like um abuse, Bruce Banner created an alter ego, which was Hulk.
So kind of like Moon Knight.
No, but yeah, technically,
Like in the same kind of
in
way.
the sense, because obviously, through abuse, anyone can create an alter because obviously it's hard to deal with.
Yeah.
So, your body or your mind kind of just creates a self.
To diffuse it.
Yeah, and Hulk's one, and I think the Eric Banner Hulk films kind of,
Touch on
showed
that,
that,
yeah.
this is why Hulk's Hulk.
Mm.
And so yeah, that's how Hulk has a or Bruce Banner has an alter ego, aka Hulk. But we know in the comics at least he has multiple, but I doubt we're gonna get any of that in the MCU.
Yeah.
Unless who knows, Grey Hulk. But She Hulk is passing the test, like you said, and she's just being kind of like making fun of the situation where like they do a ground pound and as in like they're doing training and she just goes, "Ah, man, man," kind of like just making fun of the whole thing
Yeah.
because she's just like clearly mastering it more than Hulk
Well, you could
throughout the
say
whole
she turns
journey.
into Smug Hulk because she's acing every trial and kind of showing off. So yeah, maybe.
I mean, like, yeah, because like obviously I think, um, with Hulk, it's more of a monstrous transformation rather than She Hulk's more. It's more like it's just
Heightened
her.
anger.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just more of her just being like kind of like how Shazam is when he transforms. It's the
Yeah.
best version of himself. But obviously
Yeah.
with She Hulk, it's you know
The
we
angriest version of herself.
yeah, but she's not super angry because she's quite chill, and it's a point that they say that when she talks to Hulk and say, I hold my hanger, my
My
anger,
hanger?
anger,
Hungry.
Hulk anger, um, her anger all the time when men, catcall her and
Yeah.
having a stressful job. So like it shows that it's obviously saying that like it's giving the audience just what people go through every day, as in women go through every day, and
Mm.
it's because it's sometimes people don't know, and it's it's good to find like that they're bringing up these issues
It
because
raises awareness.
yeah, because some people are unaware of it or they just neglect it, but it's really a thing because
Yeah.
it's like an issue where you know normal everyday women just deal with it. Anyone deals with like issues
Mm.
with kind of like if they're different, they're gonna get called out for it or bullied or kind of like get this kind of like
Yeah.
negative um attraction to them. So it's good and like it shows like Jen is a character herself and she's just like you know she's strong and she's like so strong about how she's keeping herself together and obviously emotions is strong um with her like she's saying all this and then eventually she does go green but it's just more so that she's annoyed at the situation that she's gonna be like initially stuck with Hulk. Well, not stuck with Hulk. She loves her cousin, but not in the old man Logan way. No, no,
Oh
no,
no
please, no,
no
no,
no!
no.
Please no!
But she, she just tired of being told, kind of like what
What
to
she needs to
do
be, yeah.
when she just wants to live her life as a lawyer. She doesn't really care about the superhero stuff, and we see that Hulk's just trying to be there, like just trying to say like I've gone through it. I'm the
Yeah.
staple. you should learn. I think he wanted to say, do better in a situation.
That's from his perspective of like, and I think that's the journey we're gonna see with this show of Jen rising to the occasion of being She-Hulk,
But
and
not being like, it's a journey. It's a self journey for her
yeah,
rather than it being kind of like, oh, you have to do this, you have to
no,
do that. It's
it's gonna come from her of I want to be the superhero or I need to be the superhero, whichever one we're gonna see. But right now, at the beginning of the journey, and we see it in Star Wars in so many things, and because I'm a screenwriter as well, I know these things and I look for them where the hero initially denies their quest of Luke Skywalker going, no, I don't want to become a Jedi, no, I don't want to leave my home, the Empire as a threat, but I don't care. I don't want to leave. So She-Hulk at the same way. I'm She-Hulk now, or sorry, Jen. I'm She-Hulk now, but I don't want to leave my life of being a lawyer. I'm still paying off my debt and all this kind of stuff. I don't want to be a superhero. So very much denying the hero's quest.
but like, eventually it will come around that she needs to kind of like live the balance, and
Yeah.
obviously it'll be kind of cool to see how Daredevil like integrates with that in the
Mm.
conversation with, he's a lawyer but he's also a superhero.
Yeah.
So obviously those two characters are going to be really cool. But we see she's just trying to leave and then they get into a fight and we finally get to see
Thunderclap.
Yep. Hulk
Boom.
finally does a thunderclap after, us seeing it from Incredible Hulk. And yeah, I mean,
Kind of.
I'm just gonna say this: Incredible Hulk did a lot of good for Hulk.
It did, yeah.
Bruce Banner,
Not so
not
much.
so much. I'm sorry, Edward Norton. You're a good actor, but you
You're
weren't
not
great
Bruce
as
Banner.
Bruce.
Yeah.
Sorry, but
Sorry, not sorry.
yeah, no, we finally get to see Hulk actually do moves, and
Yes.
like during the training montage, he even says like ground pound. He's doing like the superhero like
Yeah,
gimmicky
yeah.
thing that in the comics they all do it, and like he even quotes a comic.
That's what's
And
good about it. It's self aware because it's a comedy. So as much as people trash the comedic elements of the MCU, this is where it works because it can be goofy. It can acknowledge the comics because as much as it is derived and inspired from the comics is goofy at times, especially when they came out. So
oh
as someone
yeah,
who doesn't read them anymore, but very much understands, how important they are, it's like some things don't translate. Like shouting thunderclap when you
but the
when
thing
you do
is,
it.
I
So
think it's not meant to like just like put a dig at
no,
comics.
it's
It's
not a
just
dig,
like
but it's
it's more so
allows them to be goofy, kind of
yeah.
thing.
I mean, I wouldn't say goofy, but I just think it's paying kind of like the homage to the comics and how like outlandish but cool
Yeah,
because everyone wants to hear Hulk say Hulk smash and Hulk what bash and Hulk crush
of
whatever.
course, yeah,
It's like Thor going like in the games Mighty Spark or
yeah. Or like
um
Ryu shouting Hadouken. Everyone loves it.
it's not like there's a point of where it's like oh it's doing great with the comedy of like oh this is very I wouldn't say it's satirical but it's more so
Mm,
just like acknowledging it yeah
yeah,
but
acknowledge me.
yeah. But it was clever that I kind of just picked this up, but comics in the
Yeah,
MCU. So who's doing it? And obviously we know like Kamala Khan is a big fan. So
yeah.
someone most likely maybe during the blip or maybe throughout the whole MCU saga they create comics for superheroes. So who knows?
That's a cool
You
idea.
know,
Like, yeah.
yeah, maybe a whole marketing thing for Hulk. Smart Hulk kind of thing.
Or during the blip, someone took it upon themselves to document what all of the heroes had done in comic form. That's pretty sick. I like that.
Maybe it is kind of similar to like Old Man Logan, where we see as in
Oh yeah, yeah,
Logan,
yeah.
not Old Man
Logan,
Logan.
yeah, Logan.
There were X-Men comics, but obviously they weren't so true to actual events that happened.
Yeah,
But
they embellished them
it's
a bit.
clever. But anyway, they fight. Um, She-Hulk wins, or they kind of like crash they destroy the beach house. So it's like, oh no, they fix it. They have like drinks, and obviously, Hulk throughout the training process goes, "Oh, these are the weaknesses of the Hulk, or like these are the like bad sides of being
Yeah.
Hulk, but then also, the good sides of being Hulk was getting drunk, or not being able to get drunk. But I noticed that how many bottles they drank, and that's like most likely a lot of money. Maybe like
Most likely a lot of money.
yeah, I mean, like there was so many like of the vodka bottles and like all these kind of like alcohol bottles, and
Yeah.
just think about it. If he's going through all that, he must be getting like a steady paycheck, or maybe Hulk is stealing a shipment of
Because that's the thing,
alcohol.
like in Falcon and Winter Soldier, they pretty much established that Falcon doesn't get much from
Mm.
being a hero.
But I
It's
think
very much like you'd think that he'd get loads, but it's kind of like,
I
you
think
know,
in that sort of sense, maybe Falcon didn't get so much in terms of like endorsements and all that stuff. It's just because he hadn't been a long hero before Hulk. As in, like Hulk was a hero, but also he was enemy number one of the world. But when he was smart Hulk, he was saving everyone. Maybe he made the right decisions. Like maybe he was working with Tony to kind of get the sponsors and
maybe.
so who knows? But we get back after the whole fight. Hulk goes, just call me whenever. So we get the kind of like exit, and She Hulk goes, but as in Jen goes back, and we flash back or flash forward.
Flash forward black, yeah.
To Jen going to her court case where she's gonna make the speech and all that stuff. We see her ready to do it, but all of a sudden, crash! We see Titania, played by Jamila Jamil, or
I think so, yeah.
I can't remember.
It doesn't matter.
But we see her. She just like breaks through the wall. Kind of feels like it's like it was scripted that she broke through the wall. So
Ooh.
and her character Titania, was created by Doctor Doom during Secret Wars. Tested two characters, her and another character, to make them have powers.
Yeah.
So I wonder how she's got powers here. Obviously we don't know if Doctor Doom exists in the MCU yet, but
Yeah. Because that's the thing. I don't know loads about Titania and especially her relationship with Doctor Doom. I don't know much about this kind of stuff, so it's good that we have two perspectives here on this podcast, where it's like the enthusiast, me, and the expert in Agent Z-Man. So it's good that we can like bring both of that to the table, because I don't know anything about her. This is my first time seeing her properly. Um, and seeing how she just burst through the scene. I mean, as a wrestling fan, what a way to make a debut! Just burst your way through the scene and start causing trouble. So it's cool. I mean, we don't know. I mean, from a fan perspective and from the show, we don't know much about her at all. So it'll be interesting to see how what they show might parallel or contrast what fans, comic fans, and Agent Z-Man knows. So we'll just have to see. I
yeah.
think.
I mean, so so we get into the fight. She Hulk wins. It was kind of just like pow, she's gone, and
Yeah.
It kind of felt like that it was staged so that Jen can be like show off that she's She Hulk, and like we do see the opposition. There's a guy named Holloway, and in the comics he's very much not a good guy. He kind of like hires She Hulk to do some cases and that stuff to represent the like enhanced slash superhero super metahumans.
Yeah.
If you want to go that way, obviously that's DC, but superheroes, super enhanced
CW.
people. Not CW, DC. But anyway, we see at the end, she de-transforms back to she goes back into Jen's like, oh, can I make my statement, or kind of thing. So obviously that's the end of the episode. We get the Who's That Girl song. It's pretty cool.
Who's that girl?
Yeah, copyright. No. it's a really cool song for an outro, and we like the outro itself shows like images of like a court case, but it's with She-Hulk, in the core, and it's pretty cool because like I didn't know court cases had I knew they had drawings of the
Yeah, that's how it
certain
is.
scenes,
Yeah.
but I didn't know it was like on a big pad.
Yeah, yeah.
Someone's just drawing each of them.
It's pretty sick. Yeah.
Um, but we see that, and seeing her go through stuff like also the whole Captain America Virgin, and showing like Captain America in his like tour outfit, so the loose
Oh
comic-y
yeah, the
outfit,
comic outfit.
and it shows like arrows to who he's maybe had slept with. So we have like Agent Carter, obviously. Then one of the call girls from the tour,
Yeah.
and then a mysterious woman and all that stuff. But
There's just nice little drawings to end the credits kind of thing. So it's cool to see.
yeah, and then obviously we get the end credit scene, which is the confirmation, and it's clever lawyering from Jen when like she pretends to be drunk and she goes like, look at that ass, America's kind of thing. But she kind of lawyers it that Hulk spills the beans that Captain America's not a virgin,
Yeah.
and he did it with the showgirl from the tour,
Yeah.
which makes sense. I was kind of thinking he might have done it with the actress who plays Star Lord's mum later on in the MCU, but she was in Captain America: First Avenger
Oh yeah.
as someone who's very interested in Steve, as the Captain America. So maybe that was the second person. Who
Yeah.
knows? And we get kind of like a Captain America, and then it ends, on the F
Yeah,
you
it's a funny little
kind of
end. I
like
mean,
thing.
I thought the joke had been laboured at that point, but it was a nice little like when you have an end credit scene, and we're kind of getting acclimatized to this now, where they used to feel big, but this is only the first episode, and I felt like it kind of didn't need to be there.
No, but I think it was kind of a conclusion on the whole Captain America is a virgin kind of thing. And
But
I
did we
think
need it though? Like,
I think we did.
it's some
Captain
okay.
America's been busy. Did he actually have a love life? So obviously he will have like one with Peggy after Endgame kind of situation where
Yeah.
he comes back. But and like one thing I picked up is that obviously to the public, Captain America's dead, but it's still kind of like not confirmed by the heroes themselves, like Hulk or Falcon or anyone,
Yeah.
that if Steve is actually dead. And I think he's not. He's just old.
Because we know he goes back in time and he essentially lives out his life
With Agent
with
Carter.
Peggy,
Yeah.
like, so that we presume that by the time we meet him, which no, we don't presume, we actually see it, where by the time we do meet him, 5 minutes later from when he goes back, he's an old man. He gives Falcon the shield, so we can presume that he lives his last days
I
with
wouldn't.
Peggy.
I wouldn't say last days because we know that Peggy dies or she passes away in Civil War, so we know she dies at that point.
But this is the news.
Yeah, but still, it still kind of makes sense that no matter what, because otherwise there's a paradox and that stuff. Although Captain America going back in time to spend
Is a
time with.
paradox,
But the
yeah.
thing is, there have been clues, well, kind of clues if you want to call it, that old Steve was there at the funeral holding the
Yeah.
casket or the coffin, you know what I mean? But I just think he's still alive. He may be helping Nick Fury, possibly.
I doubt it,
doubt.
but we'll have to see.
I doubt we're gonna see Old Man Steve not until like maybe Kang Dynasty, and maybe they de-age him so we get Chris Evans back at full strength. But like I think the possibilities of Captain America is whatever. But we got a new Captain America,
Captain
Sam
Falcon?
Wilson. No,
Yeah.
he's Captain America.
Captain Falcon.
No,
Falco.
no. So obviously that's the end of She-Hulk, and you know I enjoyed the
Yeah, it
episode.
was
It was
good, man.
funny.
It was good.
It was cool to see like this. The VFX was really great, and it was a good episode. I'm looking forward to the next episode, which is on Thursday next week.
Yeah.
Um,
If we're gonna give it a star rating, first episode, what we giving?
I'd give it a solid 5. I didn't have
Out
any.
of 10
No,
stars.
5 stars. So
Yeah,
it's
5
five.
out of 5.
Yeah,
Okay,
as in like it's a good start. It's a good pilot. Or
I'll give it
good.
a 4. 4 out
Okay.
of 5.
Yeah. Because I felt like they didn't. It wasn't over rushed, and like the fourth wall,
Fourth world.
fourth world, kind of thing gimmick that She Hulk has. It's kind of like we're slowly getting it
Yeah,
because
we're warming up to it.
we first see it in the first start of the episode, and then we see it like when Hulk and her are talking, and you know she's kind of like Hulk can hear her, so it's obviously in some shows, when characters do break the fourth wall,
It's an
some
outside moment.
yeah, no, but some people can like obviously the people in that universe who are listening to her are being like, "What's she talking about?"
Yeah.
It's like in Deadpool, like Colossus will hear Deadpool talk about something like out of this world, and he's just like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
Yeah.
so it's good that she can understand that there are times where she might not like need to fourth world break or
Fourth
any
wall.
fourth wall.
Fourth world break.
It's not DC, but she doesn't.
Punctuality.
Yeah, she doesn't need to like do that in certain situations, and she's like, I think we'll get to see that during the show that she's not gonna be like always breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm very thrilled.
Optimistic for the future.
I'm just excited to see what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
With characters returning like Abomination and obviously Daredevil and Frogman. We'll get to see some like B or C or even D rate characters
Yeah.
from the Marvel comics or the Marvel universe. So yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to that. So obviously, that kind of brings us to the end of this first
Pilot episode. Yeah.
yeah. Obviously, you guys can let us know how you feel about the episode, what you thought was interesting, and what you want to see us do next.
Yeah.
Because obviously we'll be going through the She-Hulk episodes either week by week, but obviously that you guys can request whatever episodes you want.
There's a whole content library of stuff we can go over. Like there's the films, there's the shows. It doesn't even have to be, just MCU. It can be DC. I mean, we've got Black Adam coming out, so
yeah, that's
definitely want to do a
interesting.
deep dive on that because I'm interested, but I know a few people who aren't as interested. So we could do definitely something like that. But yeah, as far as the pilot goes, that is us.
Yeah, so obviously, if you want to follow us, you can follow us on Instagram, agent_Zman.
Share.con.official. And
And
yeah,
yeah,
thank you guys so much for tuning in.
these episodes will probably most likely will be put on both of our YouTube pages, Zman12 Bat or Cap.
Sher Khan. That's it, really. But yeah, nice. Well, until next time, we have been Double O Titan.